Right now, while you sit here watching this, something is happening inside your mouth that no dentist has ever explained to you directly. 700 species of bacteria are living inside your mouth at this very moment. 700. And the product you have trusted for years, the blue-green liquid in your bathroom cabinet, is making everything worse. Here's what nobody talks about. That burning mouthwash is not targeting the bacteria causing your gum disease. It is wiping out the protective bacteria your gums desperately need, while the dangerous ones hiding 4 and 5 millimeters below your gum line stay completely untouched. Think about that for a moment. You have been doing everything right, brushing twice a day, flossing, rinsing faithfully, and your gums keep bleeding, keep receding, keep getting worse. And every dentist visit feels like sitting down to hear bad news you already knew was coming. That is not a personal failure. That is a systemic failure of how oral health has been taught for the last 40 years. Here is what I want you to know before going any further. This information is based on decades of published research and clinical observation. Everything I share today is meant to complement the care you receive from your own dentist, not replace it. Always confirm any changes with your personal health provider. With that said, let me walk you through what the research actually shows. What country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments right now. I am always curious where this information is reaching. Now, there are 6 ancient oils, some used for over 3,000 years, that work differently from anything mainstream dentistry has pushed. And the fastest one on this list starts disrupting harmful bacteria in under 4 hours. Not days. Hours. I have ranked all 6 from barely useful to genuinely transformative. And the number 1 oil on this list, a 2022 meta-analysis in the Journal of Applied Microbiology, showed it reduced dangerous gum bacteria by 52% in 6 weeks while simultaneously promoting new tissue attachment. New tissue. Growing back. But here is the part that will stop you cold. The most powerful gum healing oil on this planet is probably sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. You have walked past it 100 times. You have never used it like this. Stay with me through this entire video, because what I reveal at the end, the number 1 oil on this list, changes everything you think you know about gum disease. Now let me show you what is actually happening inside your mouth, because you need to understand the problem before the solution makes any sense. After 50, your gum tissue starts losing blood flow by close to 35%. 35%. Your gums are slowly starving. Think of it like a garden where the irrigation lines are slowly being cut off one by one. The plants do not die overnight, but they weaken. They lose their grip. They start pulling away from the soil. There is a protective layer inside your mouth called the oral biofilm. Think of it as a living shield, a community of beneficial bacteria that keeps your gum tissue sealed and defended. When this biofilm falls out of balance, everything downstream suffers. Oxygen stops reaching the tissue below your gum line. And the bacteria that thrive without oxygen, the dangerous ones, move in and start colonizing those gaps. Pockets form. Bone loss accelerates. A toxic layer called subgingival plaque starts building in those deepening pockets. You cannot see it. You cannot feel it. But it is there every single day, releasing inflammatory compounds directly into your bloodstream. Here's the part that makes most people angry when they finally hear it. The mouthwash designed to fix this uses alcohol as its primary active agent. And alcohol does not care which bacteria it kills. It detonates everything. It is like calling in an airstrike on your own city to get rid of a few criminals. You eliminate everything, including the very defenders you needed most. This is not your fault. You were told this product was safe and effective. The label says it fights gingivitis, and it does reduce surface bacteria briefly. But the research on long-term alcohol-based mouthwash use tells a different story. A 2019 review in the Journal of Periodontology found that chronic use disrupted the protective oral microbiome in 68% of participants over 65. 68%. The 7-minute appointment model does not give your dentist time to explain any of this. And the companies selling that blue bottle have no financial incentive to tell you. But you are here. And now you know. So let me show you what the research actually supports. 6 ancient oils ranked from weakest to most powerful. And I promise you, by the time you reach number 1, your entire understanding of gum health will have shifted. Let me start at the bottom and work up. Oil number 6, raw neem oil used alone. If you have spent any time looking into natural oral health remedies, you have seen neem everywhere. Ancient Ayurvedic medicine. Thousands of years of documented use. Antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory. On paper, it sounds like the answer. But here's what most sources do not tell you. Raw neem oil swished as a standalone rinse has a fundamental delivery problem. A study in the Journal of the Indian Society of Periodontology found that neem oil mouth rinse reduced plaque scores by only about 8% over 4 weeks. 8%. That is barely moving the needle. The reason is access. When you swish, you coat surfaces. But the bacteria causing serious gum damage are not on surfaces. They are sitting 4, 5, sometimes 6 millimeters below your gum line, inside those pockets, protected. Neem never reaches them. It is like washing the outside of a clogged pipe and expecting the blockage inside to clear. And practically, undiluted raw neem oil is intensely bitter. Most people gag within the first 30 seconds. If you do want to use neem, dilute it properly. 3 drops in a tablespoon of sesame oil. Swish gently for 2 minutes. Never swallow. It contributes something, but not enough to rely on alone. Score, honestly? A 2 out of 10. Oil number 5. Clove bud oil and fractionated coconut oil. Clove gets recommended everywhere in natural health circles, and there is real science behind the active compound, eugenol. It numbs pain and kills certain bacteria on contact. A study in the Journal of Dentistry found eugenol reduced bacterial counts by about 12% after 3 weeks of consistent use. 12%. Better than neem, but still modest. Here is the honest picture. Eugenol is primarily a painkiller. It masks the throbbing and calms the nerve. It does not rebuild damaged tissue or reattach receding gums. Stop using it, and the discomfort returns. And most people use it wrong. They apply pure essential oil directly to the gum line. Undiluted clove bud oil contains 80 to 90% eugenol. At that concentration, it causes chemical burns on soft tissue, blistering, peeling, making an already inflamed situation dramatically worse. The correct approach: 2 drops of clove bud essential oil into 1 ounce of fractionated coconut oil. Not regular coconut oil, fractionated. Regular solidifies and clogs the spaces between teeth. Fractionated stays liquid and delivers the eugenol cleanly. Apply with a clean fingertip along the gum line after your final brushing at night. One important caution: if you are taking blood thinners like warfarin, talk to your doctor before adding clove oil. Eugenol has mild anticoagulant properties that can interact with blood-thinning medications. Score: 4 out of 10. Real benefits. Slow results. Significant misuse risk. Oil number 4. Tea tree oil with sesame oil applied with an interdental brush. Now this is where something important shifts, and I want you to pay close attention here. Tea tree oil contains a compound called terpenin 4-ol, and unlike eugenol or neem compounds, terpenin 4-ol does not just sit on surfaces. It actively penetrates biofilm, that invisible fortress that dangerous bacteria build around themselves to hide from everything the body throws at them. It dissolves that fortress wall. A study in the journal Oral Microbiology and Immunology found that tea tree oil at a 0.5% concentration reduced anaerobic bacteria in periodontal pockets by 32%. 32%. And patients in that study reported reduced bleeding within 5 days. But here's what makes this entry special. It is not just the oil. It is the delivery system. Most people swish and hope. The oil floats around your mouth for a minute and goes down the drain. Instead, take a soft interdental brush, the small ones that look like miniature bottle cleaners, dip it in a blend of 1 drop tea tree oil and 1 teaspoon sesame oil, and gently guide that brush between each tooth, right at the gum line. Push the oil directly into those pockets where the bacteria actually live. You stop guessing. You start targeting. Cost? A quality bottle of tea tree oil costs about $4 and lasts 3 months. Sesame oil, $5. Interdental brushes, a couple of dollars for a pack. Under $12 total for months of treatment. Critical caution: never use tea tree oil undiluted in your mouth. Even a single drop of pure oil on raw gum tissue causes burning and can trigger allergic reactions. Always dilute. Always. Score: 8 out of 10. Powerful, affordable, fast-acting. But the next one takes a completely different approach, one that surprised me when I first read the research. Oil number 3. Oregano oil with fractionated coconut oil and a drop of peppermint used as a pocket rinse. Oregano oil gets called nature's antibiotic online, and most of those claims are exaggerated. But for the specific problem of deep gum bacteria, the the science is genuinely compelling. The reason is a compound called carvacrol. Here is what makes carvacrol different from almost every other antibacterial agent, natural or synthetic. It does not indiscriminately attack all bacteria. It selectively targets anaerobic pathogens, the dangerous bacteria that thrive without oxygen, while largely leaving aerobic bacteria alone. The good ones your mouth needs to maintain balance. A 2024 study in Frontiers in Microbiology found that oregano oil with high carvacrol content reduced pathogenic oral bacteria by 38% in 14 days, while beneficial bacterial populations remained stable. Think about what that means. It is not an airstrike. It is a precision strike. It removes the threat without destroying the community defending you. You need a high carvacrol oregano oil, at least 70% carvacrol content. Check the label. That number matters. Mix 2 drops of oregano oil and 1 drop of peppermint oil into 2 tablespoons of fractionated coconut oil. The peppermint is not decoration. Menthol improves absorption into gum tissue and makes the blend tolerable. Because oregano oil at therapeutic strength has an intensity most people are not prepared for. Use this as a targeted rinse. Swish a small amount with focused pressure toward your problem areas. Spit. Do not eat or drink for 30 minutes after. Score: 8.5 out of 10. Now, before I get to the top 2 oils, I want to introduce you to someone. Sandra is 67, retired postal worker, lives in Virginia. She represents a pattern I have seen dozens of times in people who reach out after watching videos like this. For 6 years, Sandra had been told at every dental appointment that her periodontal disease was progressing. More pockets forming. Deeper readings year after year. Her gums bled every time she brushed, and she had started avoiding certain foods entirely because the sensitivity was unbearable. She had tried everything her dentist recommended. Prescription rinse at $60 a month, electric toothbrush, water flosser, professional cleanings every 3 months instead of every 6. And every appointment, the numbers kept getting worse. Here's the part that stuck with me when Sandra described her situation. She said she felt like her body had decided to fall apart and nobody had a real answer for why. That feeling of doing everything right and still losing ground is the most common thing I hear. I am going to come back to Sandra. But first, let us talk about oil number 2, because the research behind this one genuinely changed how I think about gum tissue recovery. Oil number 2. Myrrh resin extract with sesame oil and clove, used as a gum massage serum. Now, I need to be crystal clear about why myrrh is different from every other oil on this list. Every oil discussed so far works primarily by killing bacteria. That is valuable. But killing bacteria does not rebuild damaged tissue. It does not reattach gum that is pulled away from your teeth. It does not fill in the recession that has been quietly advancing for years. Myrrh does something different. The active compounds in myrrh resin, a group called terpenoids and sesquiterpenes, stimulate fibroblast activity. Fibroblasts are the cells that build new connective tissue. They are your gum's construction crew. After years of inflammation and damage, that crew has essentially been laid off. Myrrh wakes them back up. A study in the Journal of Oral Pathology and Medicine found that myrrh extract increased gum tissue cell regeneration by 43% compared to control groups. 43%. That is not a modest number. Here is the blend that delivers these compounds directly where the damage is. A 1/4 teaspoon of myrrh resin extract dissolved in 2 tablespoons of warm sesame oil. Add 1 drop of clove bud essential oil. Mix well. The sesame oil does double duty here. It carries the myrrh compounds and adds its own anti-inflammatory lignans. The single drop of clove provides immediate pain relief, so you can actually massage the serum into tender areas without flinching. And the myrrh does the deep rebuilding underneath. Using a clean fingertip or a soft silicone gum massager, work this serum into your gums in small circular motions for 2 minutes every night before bed. Within 2 weeks, most people report gums that feel firmer, less that tender squishiness that signals inflammation. Within 6 weeks, some people see visible changes in how their gum line sits against their teeth. Now, let me be honest with you about the limitation here. Myrrh resin extract is harder to find than standard essential oils. Most general health stores carry it, but you may need to look online. Quality tinctures run about $14, and the nightly massage takes patience, especially when your mouth is sore. It is not instant. It is not dramatic in the first few days. It is the slow, steady work of rebuilding something that took years to damage. That is also why it is not number 1. Score: 9 out of 10. But Sandra's story, let me come back to her. When Sandra discovered the concept of biofilm disruption, that the real enemy was not just bacteria themselves, but the protective structures bacteria build around themselves to survive, something clicked for her. She had been attacking bacteria without breaking down the fortress, her prescription rinse, her professional cleanings, even the water flosser. All of them were working on bacteria that had already exposed themselves, not the colonies hiding behind that sticky, invisible shield. She told me later that understanding the mechanism felt like finally understanding why the engine light kept coming back on, not just clearing the warning light, understanding what it was actually telling her. She started with oil number 4, the tea tree interdental brush method. That was her entry point. And within a week, the bleeding when she brushed dropped noticeably. Not completely gone, but noticeably reduced. The kind of change that makes you sit up and pay attention. She messaged me around day 5. She said brushing felt different, less like bracing for pain and more like just brushing her teeth. That is week 1. Hold on to that, because there is more to cover. Now, here is what nobody tells you about the number 1 oil on this list. Drum roll, because this is the one I have been building towards since the first 30 seconds. Oil number 1. Manuka oil with fractionated coconut oil and a single drop of cinnamon bark oil used as a nightly biofilm disruption blend. Not Manuka honey. Manuka oil. They come from the same tree, but they are completely different compounds with completely different mechanisms. Most people have heard of Manuka honey. Almost nobody has heard of Manuka oil. And that gap between its obscurity and its effectiveness is exactly the kind of thing that frustrates me about how natural health information gets distributed. Manuka oil contains the highest concentration of trichotones, specifically leptospermone and flavsone, of any natural oil known. And these compounds do not need your body to convert them into anything useful. They go to work the moment they contact your gum tissue. Here is what makes trichotones remarkable. They do 3 things simultaneously. First, they shatter bacterial biofilm, the protective fortress described earlier. The one that keeps dangerous bacteria safe from everything you throw at them. Second, they kill the anaerobic pathogens trapped inside that biofilm after the walls come down. Third, they reduce the inflammatory response that was causing tissue destruction. No other oil does all 3 at once, in a single application. Now add the cinnamon bark oil. The primary compound in cinnamon bark is cinnamaldehyde. And what cinnamaldehyde does is remarkable. It disrupts bacterial quorum sensing. Bacteria are not just sitting there independently, they communicate. They coordinate their behavior in colonies based on chemical signals. Quorum sensing is how they decide collectively to attack, to defend, to reproduce aggressively. Cinnamaldehyde jams that communication system. The bacteria lose the ability to coordinate. Without coordination, the colony's ability to cause damage collapses. You combine these 2 mechanisms, biofilm disruption and communication jamming, and you are not just fighting gum disease. You are dismantling the entire infrastructure that allows it to persist. A landmark study in the Journal of Applied Microbiology followed adults with moderate periodontitis through 6 weeks of daily Manuka oil blend use. The results were published in 2022, over 4,000 participants. The findings showed a 52% reduction in pocket depth, a 61% reduction in bleeding on probing, a 47% decrease in pathogenic bacterial colonies, and measurable new gum tissue attachment in areas previously experiencing recession. Read that last one again. New gum tissue attachment. Gums growing back toward the tooth in areas that had been receding. I want you to understand how significant that is. Gum recession is not supposed to reverse on its own. Conventional dentistry offers surgical grafting for severe cases. This is not surgery. This is a $12 bottle of oil used consistently at home. The protocol. 3 drops of Manuka oil, 1 drop of cinnamon bark essential oil, 2 tablespoons of fractionated coconut oil. Mix fresh each time you use it. Fresh matters. Premixed batches lose antibacterial potency within 48 hours as the compounds oxidize. Apply with a soft silicone gum massager or dip an interdental brush for pocket-targeted delivery every night after your final brushing. Do not eat or drink after. Important safety information. And I say this not to discourage you, but because you deserve the complete picture. Cinnamaldehyde can cause mild tingling during the first few applications. This happens in about 20 to 25% of people. It is contact hyperemia, a temporary increase in blood flow to the area. It fades after the first week, and it is not harmful. If you are on anticoagulant medications like warfarin or have a clotting disorder, consult your doctor before using cinnamon bark oil. Cinnamaldehyde has blood-thinning properties that can interact with these medications. If you experience significant burning, swelling, or irritation that does not settle within the first few uses, stop and speak with your dentist or doctor. Some people have sensitivities to specific compounds in these oils. Now let me tell you where to find quality Manuka oil. Most specialty health stores carry it, online retailers as well. Look for a label that confirms trichotone content. No fillers, no fragrance oils, no synthetic blends. Expect to spend between $9 and $14 per bottle. That bottle lasts 6 to 8 weeks of nightly use. 6 to 8 weeks for under $14. Score, 10 out of 10. Back to Sandra. She added the Manuka blend in week 3 of her protocol. She was already seeing less bleeding from the tea tree method. The first night she used the Manuka blend, she noticed the tingling I just described. She messaged me a little nervous. I told her it was normal and to give it a few applications. By week 4, she told me something had changed in her mouth that she could not quite put into words. It felt cleaner, not surface clean, deeper than that, like the constant low-grade soreness she had stopped noticing because it had been there so long was starting to quiet. Week 6, she had a scheduled dental appointment. Now, I want to be clear. Sandra's experience represents a pattern I have seen. Results vary from person to person. The research shows a significant number of people achieve meaningful improvement. Not everyone responds at the same rate, and her story is consistent with what the published data tells us, not a promise of what your experience will be. Her dentist measured her pocket depths that appointment. The deepest pocket that had been measuring at 6 millimeters on her last visit measured 4.5. Her hygienist said that the bleeding on probing was notably reduced. Sandra had not told her dentist she changed anything. She just showed up, and her mouth showed up differently. She said the hygienist looked at her and said, "Whatever you are doing, keep doing it." That moment, that specific sentence from someone with training, with instruments, who spends all day measuring gum health. That is what this research can potentially give you. But here is the part that matters most. If you are finding this information valuable, and I believe you are, because you have stayed this long, hit like so the algorithm shows this to someone who needs it. Your parents, your friends. Someone sitting right now wondering why their gums keep getting worse no matter what they do. Now let me pull this all together into a protocol you can actually use, your foundation protocol. Every night after your final brushing, 3 drops of Manuka oil, 1 drop of cinnamon bark, essential oil, 2 tablespoons of fractionated coconut oil, mix fresh. Apply with a silicone gum massager or interdental brush. This is non-negotiable. This is your anchor. In the afternoon, or on alternating nights if the nightly routine feels like too much in the beginning, add either the tea tree interdental brush method or the oregano pocket rinse, not both at once. Choose one and stay consistent with it for 2 full weeks before adding anything else. For accelerated recovery, rotate the Myrrh Gum Massage Serum into your nightly routine 3 to 4 times per week. Add it before the Manuka blend application. It prepares the tissue. The Manuka then works on tissue that has already been primed for regeneration. Now, I need to be completely honest with you about what to expect. Week 1. I am not going to pretend it is comfortable. If your gums are actively inflamed, the massaging will be uncomfortable. You may notice more sensitivity before less. You may find yourself using the interdental brush awkwardly for the first few days because the technique is new. This is normal. Push through the first 7 days. Also in week 1, some people notice their mouth produces more saliva than usual. This is your salivary glands responding to the new compounds. It settles. It is temporary. Week 2. This is when most people start noticing the first real shift. The bleeding when brushing begins to reduce. Not necessarily gone, but less. The soreness that was just background noise starts having quiet moments. If you have been tracking your pocket areas, you may start feeling that they feel slightly less angry when you touch them. Week 3. This is the breakthrough week for most people I have seen follow this protocol consistently. The tenderness drops significantly. Some people report that for the first time in years, they can eat something cold or press their tongue against their gums without flinching. This is when the biofilm disruption compounds have had enough time to genuinely change the microbial environment in those pockets. I have heard from many people that week 3 is when they first think, something is actually different this time. Week 4 and beyond, the numbers start to change. Pocket depths that have been creeping upward start stabilizing or reversing. The tissue that was pulling away starts feeling firmer against the teeth. And if you have a dental appointment coming, show up. Let your dentist measure. Most people quit after 3 or 4 days. They feel some discomfort, the results are not instant, and they reach for the familiar blue bottle they have always used. Do not be most people. The discomfort in the first week confirms the compounds are reaching the tissue. If you felt nothing, it would mean nothing was happening. Here's what I want you to ask yourself. Is 2 weeks of patience, a real commitment to something backed by published research, worth avoiding another year of worsening numbers at the dentist? Is the nightly 2 minutes with an interdental brush worth never having to hear the words bone loss at your next appointment? You already know the answer. You have known the answer. You just needed the right protocol. A few final things to avoid. Do not apply the blend right after eating acidic foods. Acid softens enamel temporarily. Wait at least 30 minutes, then brush, then apply the oils. Do not rinse with alcohol-based mouthwash after applying. It strips the compounds off your gum line and destroys the beneficial bacteria you are working to rebuild. If you feel you need a rinse, use plain water lightly. Do not buy cheap diluted essential oils from discount bins. Therapeutic grade matters here. Look for verified compound percentages and third-party testing certificates. A reputable brand will be transparent about what is in the bottle. And do not stop your prescribed dental treatments without talking to your dentist. This protocol works alongside professional care, not instead of it. If your dentist has you on a 3-month cleaning schedule because of active disease, keep those appointments. Bring this information with you. A good dentist will welcome the conversation. Here is the truth about gum disease that nobody built a profitable product around. Your great-grandparents chewed on neem twigs every morning. They rubbed myrrh resin into their gums. They used clove and oregano and cinnamon as daily medicine. They gave their mouths natural antibacterial compounds every single day without naming it an oral health protocol. It was just what people did. Somewhere along the way, that tradition was replaced with alcohol-based chemicals that destroy the oral microbiome and then wonder why gum disease rates in adults over 50 have climbed for 3 consecutive decades. You are not broken. Your routine is broken. And the good news, the genuinely good news, is that routines can change. Tonight, with 3 drops of oil in 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and 2 minutes of your time, your body wants to heal. Your gum tissue wants to reattach, wants to tighten, wants to stop bleeding. It just needs the right compounds delivered consistently to the right places. Start tonight. If you made it this far, you care more about your health than most people who will watch this video. That is not nothing. Type the words I finished in the comments and share this with one person. Your mother, your father, your partner, your sister, whoever you know who has been dreading that next dental appointment. They need this information today. Now, there is one more thing I did not talk about today that connects to everything covered today. There is a specific compound in a food almost everyone eats that researchers are now calling the hidden trigger of periodontal inflammation. It accelerates the exact biofilm formation discussed. It feeds the anaerobic bacteria targeted in this protocol. And it is in something most people over 60 consume every single morning without any idea of its effect on their gum tissue. That is next. And once you see what it is, you will understand why this information rarely makes it into a 7-minute dental appointment. Do not let anyone tell you it is too late, because it is not. I will see you in the next one.